Hey everyone, welcome on into a hotel edition of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here in Indianapolis for the NFL Combine, relaying all the news and the rumors that I'm hearing so far from the convention center. Now, really quickly off the top here, I'm filming in a hotel and not from the Combine itself because unfortunately last night the Chat Sports crew had our Airbnb robbed. So yeah, a little bit of drama to open up today's show. We went out for drinks, we came back, and a lot of stuff was taken, so that really sucked, not gonna lie. But fortunately, my laptop was not stolen, and while we spent most of this morning kind of running around town and trying to piece together some of the things that were taken away, I am able to at least get a video out to you guys. So I do want to share a little bit of what I've heard and also just some of the overall rumblings, if you will, coming out of the Combine. And there'll be another video that comes out later on the channel in a little bit from someone back at the Chat Sports Studios in Dallas itself, because I wasn't really going to have time to get a video out today because of, you can imagine what we're kind of working through after last night. But I'll be honest, I didn't really not want to get a video out to you guys, so I snuck back to the hotel and I'm filming a quick video. So with that being said, let's jump into some of the things that are going on from the Combine, kind of a league-wide scope, and then we'll talk specifics for the Broncos. But just deal with me here as we are filming from my computer in the La Quinta. So stop me if you've heard this before, but the Broncos want a Joker badly. I forgot who said it, but someone on Twitter is like, if I hear the word Joker one more time, I'm going to throw up. And I'm kind of at that stage now too, where it's not really any new information, but the fact that it just keeps getting reiterated and reinforced from Sean Payton and George Paton in their press conferences yesterday, I have come to at least this current draft projection. The Broncos are not going to let a running back or tight end get past them at pick number 20 that they really like. I don't think they're going to be the smartest team in the room kind of approach where, ooh, we could get a running back at 20, or we could get a defensive tackle at 20 and get a running back or tight end later in the draft because it's a very deep draft class. I used to have a little bit of that mindset, but with how often both Paytons bring up the pursuit for a Joker, and mostly just Sean Payton and George Payton's the man pulling the strings during the draft to really get that done, I definitely reached the conclusion of if Ashton, Jeanty, Tyler Warren, or Colston Loveland, if one of those three guys is available at pick number 20, they will be the pick for Denver. Now, we'll see what their action plan is if all three guys go before 20. I don't think that's super likely, so I think at least one will be there, but I'm in late February confident to say I can tell you the Denver Broncos pick at 20 will be one of those three guys: Jeanty, Warren, or Loveland. So that's kind of the latest on the search for the Loch Ness Monster, as George Paton called it. I also want to quickly address something we talked about in yesterday's video, which is there was a rumor put out there from Cecil Lammey, who I think does a good job of covering the team. I've always enjoyed his coverage of the team. And he talked about how he had some sources telling him that Rob Gronkowski is eyeing a return to the NFL, and the Broncos could be a team that he goes to because him and Sean Payton worked together at Fox Sports during Payton's one-year hiatus from the league. Not a good look for Cecil Lammey with some of the news that's come out. So I'll throw his stuff on the screen here. You can see his tweet, and that's one of the most brutal community notes. This is not true per actual league sources. And if you don't believe that, how about Gronk himself via Jordan Schultz saying, "Crazy bro, they must know something about me that I don't. I wish I still had those powers because that would be cool if I did, but was just in Australia for a few days. Now it's time to relax a little. No football." So not that any of us really thought, at least I didn't, that Gronk would actually come back to the league and come to the Broncos, but we can put that one to bed. Per Gronk himself, that's not happening. Some other storylines coming out of the Combine that I think could have some ties to the Broncos. So a couple of trades I do want to discuss right now. Jonathan Allen, the Commanders' defensive tackle, he's been given permission by the Commies to go out and seek a trade. They drafted his replacement last year in round 2, Jerzon Newton from Illinois, who I thought had a pretty strong end to his rookie season. So with a young, cheap player coming up, they're looking to push Jonathan Allen out. We've learned how important it is from the Eagles to invest in the trenches, and it's a copycat league. And I've heard so many coaches and GMs over the last 24 hours talk about that the trenches are so important. You got to invest in there. So, while it may not seem like the Broncos need Jonathan Allen, and I don't really think they do. They led the NFL in sacks last year. They're bringing back everyone. If there is one, hey, Matthew, what'd you kind of learn this weekend from the Combine? It's teams really want to invest in the trenches. So when you got a defensive tackle who plays at a high level like Allen available, I think teams are at least going to pick up the phone and, inquire a little bit. Another player who's been given permission to seek a trade, Harold Landry, the Titans edge rusher. Denver's good at edge. I mean, they just locked up Jonathan Cooper. Nick Bonito comes off a breakout season. I expect them to get a Bonito extension done. Probably not imminently, but maybe sometime during next season. I don't know if they're going to look at 1 year or if Bonito's going to look at one season and lock himself into a contract when he could be leaving some money on the table if he played well over the first half of the 2025 season. So there's going to be some type of Bonito extension. We saw how long it took for Pat Surtain's to get done, and by how long, I just mean it went up until the summer, right, into August. I don't think we're going to see a Bonito extension done in any near timetable, maybe September at the earliest. I mean, they've given extensions out midseason before, Sutton and Patrick, Jonathan Cooper. That's a better timeline for Bonito. And then the other player that's been brought up in trades that I want to talk about is Kyle Pitts. So the Atlanta Falcons have had a tough go in front of the microphone, I'll say, this offseason. Head coach Raheem Morris and GM Terry Fontenot were caught, I would say, off guard when Kirk Cousins let the cat out of the bag and said to everyone during the Super Bowl week that he played through a shoulder and elbow injury. And that contradicts a little bit of what the Falcons have been saying about him, because they expressed there was no injury concern with him, but now Cousins is saying he was injured. So why am I bringing all this up? Because Denver's not going to go after Kirk Cousins. Well, Kyle Pitts has also come up in some of these press conferences as well. You go back to the end of the season presser from the GM Fontenot, and he publicly said that it was a little underwhelming from Kyle Pitts. He was playing less than 50% of the snaps over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and Pitts' name came up once more in press conferences this week at the Combine, but this time it had a little bit more of a glowing tune to it. I believe there's a very good chance that Atlanta trades Pitts away. He's due a little over $10 million in fully guaranteed money. The Falcons are currently in the red for salary cap space, so they got to make some type of move to get in the green, which doesn't have to be a Kyle Pitts trade, but that could, be an added bonus onto one. They only have 5 picks in the draft. 2 of those 5 are in the 7th round, so a first, a second, and a 4th. No 3rd, no 5th, no 6th. So keep an eye on a Kyle Pitts trade, and with Denver in full search for a joker, that definitely seems like someone the Broncos could do more than just kick the tires on, especially if it's, for a fair price when it comes to trade value. And the Broncos have the salary cap space to make it happen. So I don't think the $10+ million in fully guaranteed money and the cap hit as well would be a major turnoff for Denver, since they've got some room in the salary cap department with Bo Nix on his rookie deal. But I think Pitts is not a fit in Atlanta for a number of reasons, but I still believe in him, and maybe it's just because I've been burned one too many times in fantasy football that he could be and can be a successful player in this league. It's just not happening in Atlanta, but maybe a change of scenery is all he needs. So keep an eye on Kyle Pitts. His name continues to come up every so often in trade circles here at the NFL Combine. So that's going to do it for us on our at-home edition of the Broncos Breakdown. I'm going to sign off. There'll be another video that comes out on the channel in a couple of hours from someone back in Dallas at the Chat Sports headquarters, and they will be discussing another trade option. I can't remember right off the top of my head right now. Oh, the NFL report cards. That's what it was too. So check that video out. Check that video out as well. But thank you for everyone's patience and just kind of bearing with me with a nice La Quinta in video here as we break down everything going on from the Combine.